and now we're at key concept number 2, which is the 4 pillars framework. So here we've got an equation: revenue equals traffic times conversion times value, and then we need tracking to measure our results. So the first pillar is traffic, and of course we need traffic to get leads and sales for our business. However, it's often not the biggest leverage point to driving more sales. And I say that because oftentimes business owners think, well, if I want to double my revenue, I have to double the amount of traffic that I get onto my website. And it's actually just not true. There are other things that we can do instead of just, going all in on traffic. The second pillar is conversion. So this is ultimately what we want to get more leads and sales. And we can actually double our sales by just doubling our conversion rate on the website. So in that case, we're just we're utilizing the traffic that we're currently getting more effectively because we're increasing the conversion rate of our website. Third pillar is tracking. So you can't improve what you can't measure. And proper tracking is going to show us what's working so that we can then improve it. And it's especially true of advertising because, when you set up these ad campaigns, they don't by default include conversion tracking. That's something separate that you have to set up, and it requires installing tracking code on the website. And the purpose for that is, for example, for running ads, and the ad platform can see that we're getting impressions and clicks, but once that user goes to our website, the ad platform doesn't know what's happening. And so we have to set up tracking to send that information back so that something like Facebook ads or Google ads knows that when someone clicked on an ad, they went to our website, they submitted a form, or they called us, or they made a purchase. And so we have to set up that tracking. Otherwise, we're just sending people to our website, and then we don't really know what happens after that. So we wouldn't be able to tell what campaigns are performing, or where to reallocate budget because we don't know what's working and what's not working. So we really have to set up tracking. And then the fourth pillar is customer value. So higher customer value means that we can invest more money to acquire new customers. And some examples of that would be raising our fees a little bit, upselling to additional products or services, or even cross-selling to other products and services. And I actually have a personal example of this. So as far as upsells go, when my wife and I got our 2 cats, we were talking about the litter situation, and we heard about this self-cleaning litter box called the Litter Robot. And so I went on their website and I was looking at the product, and I added it to my cart. And this is just the base unit, but what they had on their site was a lot of upsell opportunities. So there's like the litter guard that clicks on the front that you can add. There's like a little step thing that you can attach to the front of it as well. They also have their own brand of litter and the bags and all of these other things that they were telling me that I could add on to my purchase to make my life easier, to improve my cat's experience with this product. And I'm sure that they're able to really increase their overall customer value because they have these upsells in place. Whereas if they were just selling the product and they didn't let me know, the customer, about these additional things that I can add to really make the most out of this product, they're leaving money on the table. And as far as cross-selling goes, an example of that might be, you go to the dentist to get your teeth cleaned, and they say, okay, well, you're getting your teeth cleaned. Just so you know, if you were interested in getting a teeth whitening, you would have to get them cleaned anyway. So we're actually running a promo right now for discounted teeth whitening. And so if you want, you can tack that on at a discount. Otherwise, if you wanted to get your teeth whitened in the future, you would have to get another cleaning and then pay for the teeth whitening. So you're kind of saving money now by just tacking it on, as opposed to making that decision later. So in that sense, they would be communicating an additional service and making it make sense for the customer, and again, increasing customer value as a result. And typically businesses that have the highest customer value are going to dominate the market. So as far as how this works for, or the implications of this for advertising, let's say that you want to run Google search ads, and you do your keyword research, and you find that keyword clicks are going to cost about $5 per click. And let's say that your conversion rate on the website is 2%. So if you have a 2% conversion rate, clicks are $5, you need 50 clicks to get a customer. So you're paying $250, 50 times $5, $250 to acquire a customer. Now, if your customer value isn't worth at least $250, then you're effectively paying more money to acquire that customer than that customer is worth to your business. And conversely, if you have a competitor who again is paying $5 a click, but they've got a higher customer value, so they, for whatever reason, maybe they've increased their fees a little bit. They position themselves as a premium version of whatever this product or service is. Upsells, cross sells in place. They're able to get that customer value up to $500. Well, they can afford to pay $250 to acquire that customer because they know that customer is worth $500 to the business. So in that respect, if your customer value isn't high enough, you couldn't afford to run Google Ads, which means you'd be missing out on the visibility and scale that comes with that, whereas a competitor who does have a higher customer value would be able to take advantage of that platform. So I say that because there are other implications to not having a customer value that's as high as it could be. So question for you, how much is your typical customer worth? All right, so now that we've talked about these 4 pillars, we're going to put them into the equation. So for example, if we have 100 website visitors and we've got a 1% conversion rate on the website, and our customer's worth $500 to the business, then we've generated $500 in revenue. And again, I started this off by talking about traffic and how we might not have to double traffic. In this case, if we just increased each one of these by 25%, so instead of 100 visitors, we have 125. Instead of a 1% conversion rate on the website, we have a 1.25% conversion rate. And instead of a $500 customer value, we've increased that by 25%. So their customer value is now $625. Then we multiply these together, we've generated $976 in revenue. And it's not quite double, but it's almost double the revenue by just increasing each one of these by 25%, as opposed to doubling our traffic. So I just wanted to, communicate the power of utilizing these other pillars instead of, just investing a bunch of money in traffic.